Hello. Okay. Righty ho, let's get started. So I've got this camera for talking on, and I've got my overhead camera for seeing what I'm doing. I don't have my little close-up machine camera because I've ran out of USB ports because I've got tons of things plugged in. My phone died earlier, my laptop's this is probably going to die soon, so hopefully we'll be fine with just the two cameras. If you don't know, if you can't see what I'm doing at any point or you get stuck, just interrupt me and I will help you out.
Stupid question, Jenny, because I'm not that used to Zoom. How do you get that you're the bigger one? Because at the moment, I seem to only be able to see me as like a ginormous person.
I just have the, if anybody speaks, I get them big. Even though you said you were pinned, it doesn't seem to have done it.
So
it seems to have changed.
Hold on. I wish they would not change things because I can't keep up with it at all. Let me see.
Oh, I'm with you. I don't like seeing my face too big.
I am.
Yeah, I know. It's on view at the top right. There's some little dots on the, like a square with 3 little dots above it, and it says view.
I think it depends what you're on.
It does.
I'm on an iPad, so I don't know whether an iPad is different. Hold on, I'm
Maybe
just moving.
swipe.
The only choice is speaker view or gallery view, but the trouble is with speaker view is whoever's speaking is the big picture. So I want to keep Jenny as the big picture, and I don't know how to do that.
To keep Jenny in the picture, if you swipe to the far left, go to the far left, I think.
It's whoever's speaking comes up as the big picture.
So I've pinned myself.
If you hover over Jenny's picture, there should be a little blue box with 3 dots. If you click on that, then it should give you the choice to pin.
As I say, I'm on an iPad, so I don't seem to get that option.
Yes, that worked. Thank you. That worked.
That worked on a computer. There we go. iPad, you might swipe to the side, maybe. I mean, what I can do is I will mute everyone, and then it will keep me, because the noise will come from me, and it'll keep me as your main picture. And then if people want to chat or ask questions, they can unmute themselves. Maybe that'll be it.
If you tap Jenny, she gets bigger, you get smaller. Sorry, Jenny.
Yeah. No, that's me.
Oh, there we go. Excellent. Whoever that was, thank you.
You've worked it out together. Fantastic.
Random tapping. I'm only watching for the chat because I couldn't possibly cook dinner and do the Portside tour at the same time.
Just remember your gossip's being recorded. I didn't realize that the first one I did.
All recorded, so don't say anything you wouldn't want broadcast on the internet, albeit to a closed group of people. Righty ho, let's get started. So I'm going to follow I've got my iPad here with the instructions on it. So let's stick to the plan, Jenny. Do not deviate from the path like I always do. So first bit, we're grabbing piece 5, one of your wee semicircle bits. Let me switch my camera. And let me also, I'm just going to mute everybody. Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to talk or anything or ask questions. Okay. So, don't need that bit, put all these bits away for now. I actually cut enough for 2 bags, so I'm going to just pick my favourite bits here, I think. That's a nice bit. Okay. Great. So these 2 bits, which is piece 5. And then this is your 7-inch bits here. Let me just sort that out a wee
Can I check the 7-inch bits? Is that on the skinny strap or the thicker strap? Oh, I think it must be the skinnier one.
Let me see. Hold on.
Skinny.
Yeah. It says 7-inch piece of your 1 1/4. Hold on, let me measure these out. Rosie just gave me a whole load of off-cut bits, so I don't have the same kit that you guys have. So let me see.
I've been doing the old Blue Peter thing of here's one I prepared earlier. So I was trying to keep up this time, so it is the skinny one.
Okay, perfect. Right, let me just get my tape measure and make sure this is the right. So this should be 7 inches. Mine is too long, so I'm just going to cut it down a wee bit. I actually thought that maybe the scale was off on my printer or something. Okay, so there's the strap placement bit here, and I'm going to mark that onto my pieces just so I know where that wee bit is. Same on this side. And then we'll need some of your hardware. Having a D-ring. So thread one of the D-rings onto the top of the strap and fold the excess under at the strap placement line, which is that wee line I've just marked on. Stitch up pivot just under the ring, stitch across the strap. Okie dokie. So we're just stitching this on then. Right. I'm just going to make sure that this is in the centre. And then my wee line that I've drawn is just here, and I'm going to make sure that's where my fold is. My wee D-ring is in there. I'm going to pin that on. Oh, a wee waiting room person, and you come. Oh, I'm going to just do the same on the other one, and then I'll sew them both. Okay, so stitch up, pivot just under the D-ring, stitch across the strap, then back down, and then put the wee X in. So it's a bit like the tote bags.
Sorry,
Okay.
Janie, I just to be a pain because I was trying to burn off the little ends of the thingies. How far down did you
Fold
pin
it.
Yeah,
There's a line on the pattern piece.
right. Yeah. So just fold it down to the bottom of or to the top of the line.
So that is basically my fold line.
Yeah.
Where that is. Right, so I'm going to aim a couple of millimeters from my edge I'm aiming for here. Just got a normal straight stitch. I'm not going to do a reverse because that bottom edge is going to be stitched over again anyway. Pretty much going up until I'm about 6 or 7 millimeters away from where my D-ring is. As far up as it'll let you go. I'm going to come back and do my X at the end. Do you know what? I'm going to just unplug my phone and I'm going to get my other wee camera plugged in so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Just open the chat there as well. Okay. So I've actually stitched pretty much as close as my foot will allow me to my D-ring here.
Jenny,
Yes.
I have a quick, if you use a thicker fabric, do you still need to interface it, or do you have to interface it irrespective of what fabric you're using?
I would say just you use your judgment. So if you're feeling the fabric and you think this would be fine as a bag, it would be sturdy enough, then actually this velvet stuff, I've interfaced the bits that they've asked me to, but I probably didn't have to.
Right, okay,
Up
thank
to
you.
Just going to do the same on the other one. Right. And then now I just need to figure out the most efficient way to do these little X's on here and how big I want them to be. I think I might actually chalk mine on so that they're both uniform. So I don't think it tells you what size you should do the wee X, but I think I'm going to measure it. Yeah, they don't tell you. So maybe I'll just do it as a square. So what is that? 2.5. So 2.5. Let me chalk it in.
Is that centimeters?
Yes, I'm going for centimeters. You can be whatever size you like. They don't tell you to do this, but I feel like it'll annoy me otherwise. Wee square. So that bit, and that bit of my cross box have already been done. So I'm going to start up here, go down along the bottom and then up to that corner, and that'll give me. So I'm going to come down like that, then I go along like that, then I'll go up like that, and that'll be it sorted. So it's like a little table, like a wee fold up table. Choco liners are supposed to disappear when you pat them, which actually works kind of even on this. I'll do the same on the other one. Just going to measure it. I've started at the wrong place. That's great. Let me just go down here. This is how not to do your X's when you end up just absolutely all over the place, going over stitching you've already done. Just reinforces it, I suppose. Okay. That bit done. Just reading that chat there.
Do you think one lot of X's is going to be strong enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to go over it again, you absolutely can. But I think it'll be
Just
alright.
feels. You think it'll be all right? Okay. When the strap falls off my bag, I'll be coming looking for you.
Because remember, we've gone round
Mhm.
and then we've gone back over it again with an X. Because I've done less than that on tote bags before, and they just survive. But by all means, go over it again if you want.
Oh,
Actually, you can't see it if you're using navy. You can't really see how many times you've gone over it. You can see in the
no.
back,
Uh-huh.
but you can't see it on that side. So if you want to go over it another time for luck, then absolutely go for it.
Okay.
I definitely don't want an email in my inbox like 2 months down the line saying I was on holiday and the handle burst off. Sorry. And the handle burst off my bag and my stuff went everywhere. So maybe go over it again just in case. Okay, piece 4 now. Overhead camera, is that one? Don't know why my lights are so rotten. I got new lights for in here and they're really not as good as the old ones. I'm going to need to just use the old ones, I think. Right, so that bit's done. Piece 4. Is the slightly kind of curved rectangular bit. With right sides together, sew upper and upper end, piece 5 and lower end, piece 4 together and grade the seam allowance. Okay. So making sure that the slight curved end, slightly curved, is there. So not like that, although there's not much difference right enough, but there is a different shape. So right sides together, and we're going to be stitching along that bottom edge.
Jenny, I've just realised I've put mine up there. I've done it. I've stepped ahead of you, and I've put it the other way up. Is it
I
going to
don't think
matter that
it'll
much?
matter too much, to be honest. I wouldn't worry.
Otherwise, I've got to unpick all the top stitching as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
I did that on one of mine as well. I'm just leaving it. Be fine.
No,
It's only a tiny bit of difference.
so I'm just going to stick a couple of pins in here.
I just want to make sure I do it right. The bit with the arch seems to fit the longer edge, but it's the shorter edge it goes on.
Yeah, so it's slightly curved. This bottom piece here
Yeah.
at the top slightly curves, and that's to continue with this kind of shape on this bit of bag.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Did someone say in the chat that they were watching off to get second vaccine? Amazing. That's good. I thought there was some vaccine chat there. I'm watching while binding a wee bag I made a while because I forgot to get a kitten pattern. That is totally fine, Liz. Don't you worry. Do you need a stronger needle to go through all the material? I've not changed my needle. I tend to change my needle only when the one I'm using breaks, to be honest. So I think you should be all right.
That's every 5 minutes then, isn't it?
If I'm sewing sequins and it's every 5 minutes, that's like a safety goggles and everything get up when you're sewing sequins, but right.
No, I'm still confused because the mark that says strap placement is at the bottom.
On the pattern piece.
Yeah.
Let's see.
The two dots that say strap placement are at the.
Hold on. Let me look and see.
Is that not because that's where it lines up on the bottom bit, where it lines up with the strap on the top?
Yeah, might be.
Yeah, but it's at the opposite edge of the material. That's what.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
Right, hold on. Let me just quickly.
Like I said, the bottom end of the arched bit is slightly longer than the short curved edge, and it fits the one that has the dots on it, which.
So, in the diagram as well, the pattern piece definitely curves towards the top. And generally with patterns as well, when the writing, change my camera again. Hold on.
Yeah.
When whatever way the writing is up tends to be the way the pattern piece goes.
But the dots are at the bottom, which is, there's no strap there.
Strap placement. Let me see if it refers to it.
Yeah, the picture definitely has the shorter end at the top, but those dots are on the longer end. Sorry, pernickety.
I don't know, but do you know what? I'm not going to worry too much about it because even if they're upside down, it'll still work out. I think given that the shape of this, like it wouldn't make sense for the bag to start going in again at the bottom.
Yeah.
And the diagram doesn't do that, so I'm just going to go with this.
The long end fits the bottom piece, so yes, it should be.
So I'm just going to go with this. Should be fine. I don't know why it's got that. Maybe it will become apparent later, but I don't think so. Maybe, I don't know. Colette's made about 15 of these, so I'll message her. She'll know. Right, let me change.
I was taking a bit longer there because I was trying to, I didn't realise that everybody had moved on to their second zippy strap. So what we're supposed to be doing with this bit, we're putting this
So
the longer bit is the bit that's at the bottom, and the curved bit is the bit that's
at the top.
At the top.
Yep. So
right.
That wee bit should be curved in ever so slightly there.
Okay. Can I just say, I feel a bit like Fairy. A bit under pressure here.
Oh, please don't feel like that. It's all good. Remember, you can watch this back. You can go at your own pace. I'm
Because you lot are all going like a Boeing here.
Just take it at your own pace. It's all good.
Don't worry, I'm still taping together the pattern.
There you go.
Right, Becca. What do you? Oh, hang on. Hold on. Mute.
Does anybody know the seam allowance?
What's that?
Does anybody know the seam allowance?
Yes, it's a 1/2 inch, or which is like 1.5 ish, just less than 1.5.
Cheers.
And then we have some top stitching, I believe. So pressing, if you've got the velvet, it doesn't really press very well. The blue canvasy stuff does press, but I'm not going to press it because I don't want to melt the velvet. What I will do is,
When you grade it, is it better to cut the bottom bit or the top bit?
grading means both. Grading is just taking your seam allowance down.
Sorry, I thought it was you cut one edge and not the other.
So if you're doing something in jeans, sometimes there's like a flat felled seam you can do where I see you cut one seam allowance and the other one folds over and encloses it. But just a general grade is just trimming it down. Doesn't tell you what to grade it to, does it? Grade seam allowance? No, it just means cut a wee bit off. It does look like they've only cut, this is confusing with these pictures, isn't it? I am going to leave my seam allowance as is. I don't think I'm going to cut anything off. And I'm going to just press this with my finger. Or you can run it along the edge of the table if you like, just to make that sit a wee bit flatter. I don't want to press this velvet. Top stitch through all layers along the seam line. Okay, so a little bit of top stitching. My goodness, there's a fly the size of a bird in here. I'm surprised you can't hear it. I don't know where they come from. I had quite a lot of the windows open today because it's warm. All the flies that came in. Right, I am going to stitch. So whatever, you can kind of decide what you want your top stitching to be at this point. Whatever it is, kind of make it uniform. across all top stitched elements in the bag. So either go nice and close to the seam line or decide you're going to go a couple of millimeters away. I think I'm going to go for about 3 millimeters from my edge. There's a wee bit in my foot here that I can line up with my seam, and that'll keep me nice and uniform. So that's what I'm going to go for, but you can go closer if you want. And I'm kind of pulling this as well so that I don't end up with like a bumply bit. Because I've not pressed it, I'm just pulling it taut so that I don't lose any height with this piece. That's quite nice. Same on the other bit. Right, they look good. Let's look at the next step. So we are now on to, where's my camera? Right sides facing align the notches of the lower side piece 1 and the upper side piece 2. So I can put these away to one side for now. So I'm just going to put these markings onto my pieces as well while I'm here.
What step are you on, Jenny? I thought it was 6 next.
Yes, that's what I'm on.
Oh, right, okay.
So all I'm doing at the moment is I'm transferring the pattern, the marking of this piece onto my fabric because I've not done it yet.
Okay.
And then we'll be stitching 2 bits together. So we'll do these both at the same time.
Has anybody done step 8 yet? Anyone that's gone a bit, Sheena, you think you're a bit further ahead than everybody else?
No, I'm stitching the bits that Jenny's marking and pinning at the moment. I haven't got that far.
Yeah, step 8 doesn't seem to make sense to me.
I'm too scared to go ahead in case I do it wrong.
Yeah. I was only going ahead a bit because I know there's a point where I'll get desperately behind. I'm just trying to.
That's why I spent 3 hours preparing this afternoon.
I love this fabric so much. This velvet feels great. So nice. So it is
Possibly a stupid question. When you're matching piece 1 and piece 2 together, my whatever this bit is might be 1. I can't remember. I took it off the page already. It's got 2 marks at the top and 2 marks at the bottom, and the other piece, which is the contrasting one, it's got like 1 at the bottom and 2 at the top. So how do I know which ones to go to which?
let me see.
I know maybe the picture shows you 2 dots on that one.
Let me see what you mean. Hold on. So it is your fat. So do you mean what bit goes, like what bit gets stitched at the top and what bit gets stitched at the bottom?
Yeah, so if I'm matching the blue to the contrast,
Yeah.
am I going to the bit on the contrast that's got the 2 marks on it, or the bit that's got the 1 mark on it? Unless I've forgotten to put extra marks on them. Hold on, let me look at my.
Oh, let me mark mine up and then we'll see.
Because I take it the bottom is where the pocket placement should be.
Yes. So there's pocket placements on. So the pocket goes across the 2 colours when we stitch it on.
You know, see, when you read patterns, you do sometimes think, is my grasp of English just really that bad?
You know what it is? Like sometimes you're better to think, right, I've read instructions and now I'm
I
going to
didn't understand them.
I'm going to look ahead a couple of stages and then I'm going to think, right, well, what would I do if I didn't have the instructions? That's actually quite useful sometimes, because see, if you think of even trying to explain to someone something really simple in writing, like even it's quite difficult, especially this sort of thing where you've got all these rectangles, so it's actually quite hard to differentiate between them all. But I find if I get stuck at a pattern, which does happen sometimes, then I go ahead a couple of steps and be like, well, if in step 7 they're asking me to do X, Y, and Z, then it means that this piece must have to look like that.
Okay.
But we'll see. Hold on, let me mark these in and then we'll have.
I'm reckoning if I've done it the wrong way around, you can always put the markings on the other way because they're all square.
Yeah, exactly. It'll work out anyway.
Good thinking.
Does anyone have any trips planned anywhere? Even a wee staycation or something that they could use this for?
Yep, I'm going away next Thursday.
Where are you off to?
Well, we're going to Alderney because we're back in Guernsey now, and Alderney is like another island not far from here.
Oh, nice.
So we're getting a flight. It's a 20-minute flight.
20 minutes.
So we'll be there in no time. So I'm planning to use this bag.
Oh, good.
I have 4 days. If I get it finished in time, I'm going to Cornwall tomorrow.
Oh,
lovely.
Kind of for work though, so.
Well, I'm sure you'll fit in a wee bit of social time in the sunshine as well.
I'm sure I will.
Where in Cornwall are you going? I'm just back from Cornwall last week.
I'm going to Bude.
Oh, nice. I was in Perranporth. I've got family that live down there.
I've never been to Bude before. I've always been to sort of your side.
I'm sure you'll have a fabulous time.
Despite the work thing getting in the way.
Yes.
I'm going to Oban for 4 days at the beginning of July.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, that sounds nice.
I'll be coming with me.
Right. So the way I'm putting these pieces together, I am putting them together with if the pattern was still attached to it, all the writing at this point would be the right way up. If that makes sense, Paula. But yeah,
Thank you. Yeah.
Seem to matter, I don't think. So attaching at this bottom bit here.
I cut myself off while trying to say I'm going to Crieff tomorrow, but I doubt, so given that I'm still cutting it out, that I'm going to finish in time for that. So I think it'll be for London, hopefully at the start of July.
Nice. I am going to London at the start of July as well.
You want babysitting 2 kids while you're there?
No, thank you. I'm not really very good with kids. Probably be like, can you take kids?
Is it just for a holiday, Jenny? Or
no, it's a work thing actually, but I will definitely fit in a couple of drinky poos for sure.
Jenny, can I check for the piece 1? Are you doing it so that the strap and pocket placement marks that are on the pattern, are they going to be sewn over effectively when you do your hem?
No,
the other way around.
I did them. So if this was that's how they need to go. So your pattern piece at the top with like your pattern, if you've got a pattern right way up, and then I've got this down at the bottom with the fabric the right, so that's a plain bit at the bottom right enough, with the writing of this piece in the right way up, so that if I still had the pattern piece attached, basically they'd be going together like that.
So can't figure that out, upside down, back to front.
So it doesn't actually matter too much. Is that easier?
Yes, thank you.
So all the writing the right way up.
Perfect, thanks.
But yeah, we can always go back and mark if it, because it is like Sheena said, it is just a rectangle, so it'll be fine.
Is anyone going in inverted commas to the sewing weekend or this weekend?
No. What is that?
It's in the Fold Line that organise it. So it's normally like a retreat, like you organise, Jenny, they normally organise a retreat, but obviously they can't, well, they're not doing it this year because of COVID, so they're doing it online. I think you basically, I don't really understand how it works, but I think basically at the beginning of each day, so you buy a ticket and it's like £17, I think, and they're basically doing sort of, you get emailed a schedule in the morning of each day, and then I think it's basically loads of different tutorials and sew-alongs and talks from sewing people.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool, and I think you can, like, obviously, I mean, I think what they hope is that you pick a project yourself to just be working on while you watch everything.
Yeah.
And then, you know, sort of tag everybody in your projects and stuff. But the material stays up, like the footage, what, I don't know, the recordings anyway, I think are kept sort of indefinitely so you can access them all afterwards.
Hey, Lindsay, I'm
cool.
going, so maybe see you there.
Well, I haven't got my ticket yet because I'm just like, how am I gonna get a whole weekend to myself without like anybody interrupting me? Could I like make my little boy watch films for an entire weekend? I don't know. Although my husband did say, he was like, you've been doing loads of extra time with Rue recently because he's been snowed under with work, so I might take him away for a bit this weekend. I'm like, yeah, off you go.
Yeah,
that's cool. Lindsay, I'll maybe see you there. They were talking about breakout groups and stuff in Zoom and all. I don't know. I'll probably not be able to work out how to get online. But it sounds good.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how it works, so just thought I'd see.
I know. Just we've got some interesting people like speaking and stuff, so it looks interesting.
Oops.
Just as well I said that about the markings, because I have done it upside down.
Easy fix, eh? I've not heard about the sewing weekend art because I have been living in a little bubble all about the capsule wardrobe. I've been doing nothing else other than sorting stuff out for that new course. It's completely absorbed all of my attention. Right, I am going to now top stitch that wee bit that I've just stitched. So I'm just going to stick to the same top stitching kind of measurement away from my seam that I did for the last bit, so that it's nice and uniform. I'm just going to mute myself so that you guys can talk if you want to. Okay, pocket now. So these bits can go to one side as well. So fold the top edge of the pocket down 1/4 inch twice, press and stitch the hem in place. Okay, so that's about 5 millimeters. I'm going to put my lights on and see if it makes a difference. It's dark in here. Quarter and a quarter is tiny. Okay, I'm going with it. By all means use an iron here, but I'm not putting the iron on for one bit. It's too hot in here. You can also run it against the edge of a table, which will further get that crease into the fabric for you. Okay, so there's a pocket on either side. So same on this one. And then I'm just going to stitch this down along the top. Right, next bit. Align the pocket with the pocket markings on the side panel you made in step 6. Okay. Stitch the pocket in place around all 3 unhemmed edges. Okay, so I'm assuming it wants us to fold these raw edges in. I think
The strap goes over the top.
Do you think we need to, given the fact the strap's going to go over it?
Oh yeah, you might not have to then, eh? No, definitely don't then. Perfect. Right, so grab your main bag bits. I'm just going to line them up with my dots. Okay, let's stitch these on then. I'm just going to measure and make sure that this is definitely centered all right.
Oh, it looks really nice.
I'm just going to pin my other one while I'm here. I actually wanted to embroider this before I put it together, but I did not have time to go into the studio and do it, unfortunately. But they look really cool with a wee, what is it you call it when you put your initials on things?
You can embroider the little ones.
Monogram.
Monogram. That's the one.
Oh no, banana juice.
Let's switch the camera. else looking good. Right. Okay, step 9. Cut a 43.5-inch strip of 1.5 wide webbing. Let me just see. Okay, so this is the wider stuff then. Let me see, I think that's one handle and then you have to do the same again. Yeah, so I might just cut two 43.5-inch while I'm here, so I don't have to measure it twice. So 43.5 takes me to there. If you can hear Steve talking on the phone or right outside the door, I apologise. He knows I am on live and now his conversation is a private.
I want to sing.
Again?
I didn't hear it the last time.
Let's see. Okay.
Had an online ballet class from Glasgow this morning, and the guy's little dog, every time he did a Batmonglise, the dog bit his toe. It was hilarious.
Was he doing it from home?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Right. I'm just sorting out all my offcuts here. Okay, so that is 2 bits. Right. There we go. Sorted. Just give me 1 second. I need to tell him he's driving me mad talking like that outside the door. 2 seconds. He'd kill me for this now. Okay. And find the middle and then fold it in half. Okay. So this is like to create the wee handly bits that you'll end up holding. So I want you to find the centre. I'm just going to double check this is definitely the right length. Yeah, it's fine. Find the centre, mark with a pin, fold in half and stitch for 2.5 inches either side. Okay, so there's my centre. I'm just going to mark it with a bit of chalk actually. And then folding it like that. That's my wee centre point. So I'm going to pin and stitch 2.5 inches that direction and pin and stitch 2.5 inches that direction. I'm not an inches person, but they're only talking in inches. I like it when a pattern gives you either or, so I don't have to keep working it out.
So it's not twisted like it looks in the picture, it's just straight along the edge.
Photos are really unreliable on here, so I am going to look at. So see if you scroll right down to the bottom, we're up to step 24. This is what I did earlier. I think that to me looks like they folded it in half. It doesn't really matter too much, but it'll just make it look a bit different. It says, fold the webbing in half and stitch along the edge on either side of your centre point. It is a bit of a strange diagram though, isn't it? Let me look at a photo of the finished bag and see if I can figure it out. Let's see. Portside. Is anyone going to make all the other wee bits and pieces that go with it? The wee Good Father's Day presents, actually, some of them. The wee boxy kind of bag thing that comes with it is nice.
Depends on how I get on with the zip for this one, because I hate zips, and I'm starting to dread the fact that we're getting closer to that moment in time.
Please, miss.
Oh, already done. Oh, that's great.
Oh, lovely. Oh, Sheena, they're fab. Is that Paris fabric you're using? Yeah, that's lovely.
Oh, they look fabulous. Could you just come round to my house, Sheena, and just finish off my bits?
I was so pleased with it. But there was a bit in the dot bag that I missed out because I didn't understand it, and it's the same as the bottom here. And I actually think that might be fiddlier because it's smaller.
Yeah, quite often that's the case actually.
I've just done the strap. I made the two last night. The pouch was dead easy, but the dot bag, I didn't even know what a dot bag was. I had to Google it.
No, I've never.
Tracy's got a rainbow strap.
Yes, I have rainbow webbing.
Right, hold on. Oh, lovely.
I've just done that. So that's what it looks like. So like that bit there is where it's in half and then it's loose. So yeah, that's like the grab handle bit.
Yeah, I think that is. It's just
being.
So you've just done what?
Yeah, I think I've just done it. Yeah, I think it looks twisted in the picture, but it's just like, because if I was to take a picture of that line flat, it does look twisted.
Yeah, okay, fair
but
enough.
It's not. It's
okay. So we were right. We're all good. Yep. Just wanted to double check. It looks like that in the photo that I've just found as well. So let's go for that. So 2.5 takes me to there.
I'm glad, Jenny, that I heard you saying 2.5 because I read it and read 5 inches on either side. So I had it like pinned double the length. I guess it wouldn't have mattered, but
it would have been fine, but yeah. There we go. Just going to stitch this.
I think I'll manage a dot kit for Father's Day. Looks like about the right shape.
Is that the boxy one?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. No! Just a... And 2.5 again. You know, does anyone ever watch Breaking Bad? You know that episode where it was weird, he was just chasing a fly about? That's all I can hear in this room. I don't know if you can hear it. It's like a size of a bird. I had a very proud moment earlier when I ate a strawberry that I grew myself. I'm rotten at keeping plants alive. And I had this, my mum bought me a wee strawberry plant. She's like, see what you can do with that. Try and not kill it. And I think because there was food potentially at the end of it, that's why I've managed to keep this plant alive. It was the nicest strawberry I've ever eaten. I took a photo of it. I'll post it online later. But my goodness, I was proud. There's another 2 coming as well. It's quite a lot of work for like 3 strawberries, right enough. Very satisfying though. Right. Okay, let's see. Align the 2 ends of the webbing of the strap placement lines at the bottom of the bag side panel. Top stitch the straps in place by stitching from one lower edge of each strap up, pivoting across the strap at the placement line, then back down. Cool. Right, so let's switch my camera. So I've got my wee strap lines there. So I am going to stitch up until that point there, where I've got my wee 2 dots on the pattern, and then the same on there.
question. How much handle do you have over the top of your bag? Because I don't seem to have an whole lot.
No, there's not tons.
All right, okay.
But remember, you'll lose about that much when we put the zip in.
Yeah.
And then the bag will sit kind of like that.
Okay. That's fine.
With your handles.
Just for a minute there, I thought, oh, sure, but I've cut the straps too short.
It does look short, but I've got faith in the process here. I just think these look so professional when they're made up. It's such a nice pattern.
I just remembered that I had the fabric labels that I bought from Sew Confident. I keep forgetting to use them when I sew, so I've quickly put one in beside the strap.
Oh, good.
Just a wee reminder, just in case anyone else has forgotten that they've got fabric labels like I do.
What labels did you get? What ones is it?
Well, I got given a gift of the Made with Love and Swear words, but I also got the one that says this is the back, and then the one that I've put on this one is the one that says you can't buy this.
Oh yeah,
my fabric. It's really cute.
Love it. Yeah, I got a wee pack of the Made with Love and Sweary words in here as well somewhere. Might stick one in as well.
I've just got the handmade ones, but I'm really wanting the Made with Love and Sweary words. Do you know if you're going to put them in again?
Are we sold out of them? I don't know why I'm asking you. Rosie, where's Rosie when you need her? Get Rosie on the phone.
They had last time I looked. I've not looked in about a week or two though, so.
We actually buy them they come from Australia. So see anything that's coming in from somewhere that isn't the UK. I think that was one of the companies that said they were no longer shipping to the UK. However, I think if I buy enough of them, they probably would. We'll get them back. We'll definitely get them back in. Okay. I am going to sew this one, then pin the next one, I think. Let's just double check we're doing this right. So it's basically the same process that we did on the little curvy bit. So I'm going to go up, along, down like a big rectangle, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do my little box cross bit here and here. What I might need from you guys is I am being forced into karaoke. I cannot sing at all. So I need some recommendations of something. It's a non-negotiable. I'm going to be made to do it. So I need to find something to sing that will either everyone will sing along with and then no one will notice how bad I'm at singing, or that is I don't know, something I can rap or something. I don't know. Has anybody do karaoke but you're not good at singing and you've got a song that just gets you through? This is what I need. Answers on a postcard. You can get back to me in a week or two if you need to, but
I always do ABBA on the basis that everybody will sing.
That is a good idea, actually. ABBA's a kind of good all-rounder, isn't it?
YMCA.
One.
Good
Everyone
one.
will join in with that one. Those were the days. People sing along with that one.
Yeah. Sweet Caroline.
Sweet Caroline's a good one as well. Or maybe something I can shout.
I was going to say, can you rope Steve into it as well? Will there be anybody else there?
He won't be there.
I've seen Barbie Girl done as a duet, which was absolutely one of the best things I've ever seen. Neither of them could sing, and it was awesome.
That's a good one. To be fair, I could just find someone that will do it with me. someone else who's crap at karaoke. There's bound to be someone.
Far down, are we doing the box? Is it where the marks were?
So see the top of the, so I'm doing a rectangle first, so I'm going to stitch up to the marks across and then down, and then I'll be doing my box within that.
Okay.
Your stitching totally disappears into this webbing, doesn't it? Covers a multitude of sins. I need to speed up and stop talking so much nonsense, or we're going to be here till like midnight doing this. Actually not too far off. The good thing is the lining is like a very, very simple version of the outside. So it's easy to put together. Just going to do my wee crisscrossy bits now. I'm going to measure again because I don't want them to look ski with. I'm just going to make mine a box again. So looks like 3.5 centimetre wee box. So I've just chopped them in again to make it a bit easier to follow. same on the other piece. Just checking the chat there in case I'm missing anything, but I'm not, so that's fine. So my other idea for karaoke was I just go for something that only people who can actually sing, and I just murder it for a laugh. That's another option. Do some like Whitney Houston and just absolutely.
Do like Cameron Diaz did in that film and just do it really, really badly?
Yep. That might be the only option. Right. Just doing exactly the same on the other side. Is anyone ahead? Is everybody okay? No one stuck at anything?
Not stuck, just not keeping up as usual.
Yeah, just do my ziggy zaggy on the first one and then have to sew the second one.
Fab.
I finished cutting out. Woohoo.
That is very time consuming, to be fair. Cutting out takes so long.
I might have finished the pattern.
Who's that?
Sam.
Sam, you finished putting the pattern together?
Woohoo!
Also very time consuming.
Oh, I know.
I've
had this pattern 6 years and I've never made it.
Until now. I've got quite a few patterns like that, to be fair, that are just like sitting on my computer electronically. I've never even printed them out, never mind.
Yep.
Made them up.
I think I discovered this when I discovered the older dress. That was. Only made one of them though. Need to make the gathered version.
Yeah, I like the gathered version.
I made the straight version.
That's nice as well. That was a firm favourite of mine. I went through a whole summer pretty much living in those dresses. I got about 3 of them.
I think the new season of Fortnite for the 10-year-olds or anyone who has a 10-year-old might play into my sewing time.
Isn't Fortnite a computer game?
Yeah.
It is a computer
But if the children play the computer game, they leave me alone.
Very, very true. I do that with Steve sometimes. You're like, you can play your PlayStation. He's like, oh, really amazing. And I'm like, I actually don't want to hang about with you tonight. I want to go and sew. But he thinks I'm being nice.
Oh.
I also just finished putting the pattern together.
Oh.
Jenny, I've got some remnants of the sunflower stuff you've got.
Oh.
Which I bought in, not from you, sorry, Oswestry. And I've had it forever. I didn't know what to do with it. So
are you going to use it for your bag?
Well, I'm going to use it. I might have enough for the dot kit, but I should have enough for the ends. But I've got some quilted velvety furnishing fleece.
All right,
so
okay.
It's pre-quilted, and it's got the fusible fleece on it already, so it might give it a bit of structure.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
And then I've got about 5 million bags to finish apart from that.
Yeah, you make a lot of bags, don't you?
I do, because I can't get things to fit me. This is my latest one finished.
Let me find you. Hold on. Oh, is that a rucksack?
Yeah, it's a sling.
Ah,
And
It's
it
really nice.
opens to put your.
oh, so it's like a kind of, is it like a kind of concertina opening?
Yeah, so you got wee concertina bit there,
Yeah.
and then another pocket inside, and then you've got a bit there.
Wow, that's really cool. I need sections in bags. I can't be doing with just a bag with. I need either sections or I need other little zippy things in it, or it just ends up a mess.
This
So
has
that's
got
good.
cost me a fortune in hardware, but I like it, Alan.
Really nice.
Did probably cause some child neglect, truth be told.
I'm sure they're quite happy with their computer games, to be fair. Right, nearly done. I'm going to draw my wee crosses in again. Right, done. Let's look at the next bit. So take the side panels you just created and fold the top edge down a 1/2 inch on each side and press. So this isn't going to press, so I'm going to pin it. You could baste it if you wanted, so you could do a really long straight stitch to keep this in place before we stick our zip in. Okay. Change my camera. So I'm going to fold down this wee edge, and then I'm actually going to pin on the outside on my right side. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same on my other one. If you've got a fabric that will press, then I would say press it, it'll make it easier, but this won't crease. I know it doesn't crease. Okay, now we have a zip. And align the folded edges of the zip and stitch in place approximately 1/8 from the folded edge to secure the zip in place. Okie dokie. So I'm going to use this chunky one. Has anybody got, what kind of zip does everyone have? Has anybody got the chunky plastic one?
Yeah, I think that might be what I've got.
Yeah, it's what I've got.
Mine's an open-ended zip.
Yep.
I couldn't get a chunky one. I hope it's strong enough.
Oh, it'll be fine. Just going to take this off. Right, now I'm just going to, what I would say, I just want to think of the best way to put in this super chunky zip. I think it will look good, but we need to be careful with this end bit here. It's too chunky to sew over. So I'm just going to just get my head around how we will put the end panel on with this zip in the way. You just see. Basically, to put your zip in, how they want us to do it is essentially we're top stitching it in. So we're going to have our refolded edge. Don't know why I've gone out of focus.
How about looking at a tab?
Oh no, I don't know who that is that's talking, but you're all roboty. Why is this not going into... Sorry, I'm just trying to get my camera to focus again.
Hey, Jenny.
What's that?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
And fabric tabby.
Can't hear you, I'm afraid you're all...
Don't worry.
Type it in the chat. And I will just try and get my camera to... Oh, we're in focus, thank goodness. Right, what I'm just going to very quickly do is get my head around. So the zip gets put in like that. So I'm just... That's my zip right side up. And it's going to be fabric there, and it's a top stitch. But what I very quickly want to figure out is the best way for us to put these chunky zips in when I know that we're going to have to sew over the end with this piece. So bear with me 1 second while I figure this out. Right, okay, figured out a way to do it. Right. If you have these super chunky zips, or let me see, I've got another zip here that you'll have. I've got both of the zips if you bought a kit from us. They've both got, yeah, they're both open-ended. So what you should do is have the open-ended bit. Doesn't actually maybe matter too much. I'm going to have my open-ended bit hanging off the edge a wee bit here. And which will mean at this side, at this end, I'm going to so I've got at this side, I've probably got 1 centimetre hanging over. Then I've got my puller here. I'm going to stitch this in, and it's going to mean that there's an overhang here of about 2 centimetres, because that'll fold away and it won't cause us too much grief. But we won't have to cut it. Does that make sense? So what you don't want is your chunky end without the puller right on the edge of your seam allowance. You want this to be definitely hanging off the edge a wee bit.
So then when we sew the zip in, Jenny, when we get to the bottom of the zip, where I think your right hand is,
yeah,
do we just go to like 1/2 inch from the end so that we can fold the zip under when we put the side on?
So I'm going to, yeah, so that's exactly why I want to leave this bit, because that'll just fold away. So do you mean this bit of seam allowance? Do we fold that?
So we sew down till we get to, I think it's your left thumb, or where your left thumb was. So when we sew down that side, I'm pointing at it as if you can see what I'm pointing at. So when we sew down that side, if we stop 1/2 inch before the end of the fabric, then we can fold the zip back, and when we put the side on,
yeah,
we've still got the 1/2 inch left.
Yeah, that you could do. Let's try that. So yeah, so what to do then is, you mean stop sewing?
Yeah.
There. Let's try that, because we can always go back and sew it if we need to. So leaving a bit at the end. So this bit of the zip has to be hanging off the end. We'll stop sewing 1.5 or your ½ inch from the end there. And at this side, we can start sewing from the end, because this is just fabric, so we can sew through this entire bit when we're putting the end on. So I'm just going to start doing this, and then hopefully we'll figure out if it should work.
Could you give me 2 minutes just to try and pin it? So that
yeah. I've not pinned it yet either.
Oh, right, okay.
So you're fine. I've only pinned my seam allowance down, so I'm just going to start pinning this now.
Stupid question, but you're only pinning the one side just now, aren't you?
Yes, I'm only going to pin one. And I'm going to keep the folded edge of my fabric about 3 millimeters away from the teeth, just so that I don't end up getting it jammed with fabric, because this is quite a chunky zip, so I just want to make sure there's plenty of clearance. I think I might need to get some new pins. These ones do not want to go through this velvet at all. Let's
Jenny, how far away from the end of the zip did you say to stop?
just your seam allowance, so ½ inch or 1.5 centimeters. So like that much. If we don't seal the end of the zip, don't we run the risk of losing the zip pull and pulling the bag open to the widest? The only thing that might happen is the zip pull will not come off because it's a open-ended zip, which means that we're not cutting any of this off. That's why I was trying to figure out, because we can't really cut this off. It's too chunky, and then that would cause us trouble. The only thing that could potentially happen is somehow if you go too far back with the zip, which we shouldn't really do, because like this much is going to be still in the lining of your bag. This could come apart in your lining, but I think it would be really very hard to do, and it wouldn't break it. It would just mean you need to get your fingers inside the lining and put it back together again, like the bottom of your coat zip. So we're not cutting any bits off this zip at all, because then you can definitely get yourself into bother with it. Okay, I'm going to put my zip foot on. Might not be necessary, to be honest, but let's put it on anyway.
Sorry, Barry here. I have a zip that I know I can sew over because it's the same width as the one I used at the dot thing, do I align the puller of the zip to the seam allowance at one edge?
For you, it doesn't matter so much. So
But
you
from
can
the point
just
of view of getting the pull in the right place is the end of the pull rather than the end of the fabric at the seam allowance at 1/2 inch.
So if you can sew over your zip, then you don't have to leave a gap at the bottom at all. So you don't have to.
At the top, I mean, where the pull is, not
You
the
don't.
end of the zip, but the pull, the ring pull. Yeah, so that would, so that
you want-
itself would be at the seam allowance.
So yes, you can
Yes.
leave that bit at the seam allowance because you want to be able to sew over this and kind of avoid the teeth if you can, even with a zip that you can sew over.
Yeah, great, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so this probably, I don't think my zip foot is necessary actually. Do it with my normal foot. If you can do it with the normal foot, do it, because your zip foot pulls the fabric out to the side and it's actually quite difficult to sew with. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this.
Can I just ask, because I'm going to have to go in a minute, I've found some faux leather, which is basically plastic, to do for the base. So when I get to sewing that in, would you use a walking foot?
You can use a walking foot or you can use a Teflon foot.
I haven't got one of those. So a walking foot does the same thing, does it?
Sometimes depends on the fabric, but the walking foot can sometimes leave indentations where the jaggy teeth were. So test it out first on a wee scrap bit.
Yeah, thank you. So I need to go, so I'm going to say ta-ra.
Okay,
but I'll just show you what I've done so far.
Oh, fab. We're nearly there.
It looks great. Thanks for your company, everyone.
Amazing. Well done.
See you. Bye.
Oh. I'm kind of pulling this taut a wee bit to try so that I don't end up with any bumfles sewn in here. Obviously the zip doesn't stretch, but the velvet does a wee bit. So as I get towards the end here, I want to just stop sewing a 1/2 inch from the end. So I've left a wee bit there. I'm going to just do the same on the other side.
everyone's concentrating on their zip, but can I ask 2 stupid questions from the start?
No such thing as a stupid question.
I cut everything out as per it said on the pattern pieces. I've started putting together my sides. It's now saying that the sides should be interfaced, but it didn't say to cut any interfacing for them.
Yeah, I didn't interface my sides because it doesn't tell you to. But is your fabric heavy enough?
Yeah, it's pretty solid cotton, so it's canvas, so it's all right.
You don't worry. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it.
And the other thing is the pocket. Are we leaving that unfinished round the sides? Is that just unhemmed? Yes, because so just hemmed at the top. Oh, because the straps are going to go over. Yeah, I remember this conversation now. Yeah. Okay, lovely, thank you.
Did I hear you say not to change to a zip foot?
If you can get away with it, don't, but I couldn't because my zip's too chunky, so I did have to change to a zip foot.
Because I've only just recently learned to use the zip foot, but again, the pulling of the material, I think, was a bit of a problem when I used it before. So just zip.
I mean, zip foots are so good and they're very necessary in sewing. However, if I'm sewing a zip in and I can get away with not using it, because of the shape of the zip foot,
I've been putting zips in for decades, haven't changed the foot, so I'll just have a go.
It just it tries to push the fabric out of the way, so it just can make life a little bit more difficult sometimes. Sorry that I'm going over. If anyone has to leave, by the way, this has been recorded anyway, so I'll be posting it up. So don't worry. I'm not holding anyone hostage. Right. Another thing that I'm going to do with this zip is, although it'll be quite awkward to sew, I started on this side sewing from the puller bit down, and I'm going to start again from the puller down on the other side as well, because if I start at the bottom, the machine might pull the fabric and it might end up just knocking it off, and I don't want that. So when I'm doing something like this, I will make sure that I start and finish sewing my zip in at the same end. So finish at the puller end, start at the puller end, finish at the other end.
Even if the big bit of the fabric is bunched up under the machine. Yeah. Tip.
Because if it's going to move, then better to have it the other side probably move down a little bit, so hopefully it'll move down in by the same amount, and then it'll be perfect. Ooh.
I decided to try out a continuous zipper for the first time.
Oh yeah.
So that you can open this bag at both ends, and I don't think I'm going to buy a regular zipper ever again. It's actually much easier to use than I thought.
Game changer. Right. Switch my camera around. Right, next step then is these side panels is what we need now. So these are going to get stitched right sides together along this edge here. And what you want to match is those two bits if possible. So where the navy or where the contrast two bits meet, that's probably where I would start, actually sticking a pin in there.
When you're stitching that, is it better to stitch from the side of the curved bit or the side of the straight bit to know which side to put the pins in?
I would go from the curved side up because this is the bit that's likely to kind of bumfle up, whereas the back bit's probably going to be getting stretched a wee bit to fit round the curve. So I would always stitch with the side that's most likely to bunch up the way so that you can make sure that it doesn't bunch up. I'm just going to pop some pins in and then we'll deal with this zip bit in a wee minute. So matching.
Do we think rose gold?
What's that?
Rose gold's it?
Defo. What are the options?
I've got rose gold and I've got with black and I've got rose gold with neutral.
And what colour's your fabric again? With the same stuff? I think I'd go for the rose gold with the navy, with the black. Sorry. Although there is a pinky colour in this, so maybe the pinky one would be good. Yeah, maybe that one.
That one.
Go for that one.
If I start now, do you think I'll have it done by midnight?
I think at this rate, the rate I'm going, I'll be done by midnight. No, I will speed up. What I'll do is I'll talk you through, the lining gets made in exactly the same way as the outer does, but it's easier because it doesn't have all the zips and things, and it gets hand stitched in.
Is it just a drop in then?
Yep, exactly.
It's the bottom bit and the top stitching and that I didn't understand.
That's fine.
Right. What are done with that?
So the bit that I'm stitching here is the bit with the puller. So I'm just going to move the puller out the way a wee bit. And this bit actually I'll be able to just stitch right over. It's the other side where we'll need to probably leave a wee gap. But I'm going to pin it in, and then I'm going to close the zip, turn it out to the other side, and just make sure that it looks all right. So that is going to look fine. So I'm just going to go and stitch this in.
Jenny, what did you do at the zip bit there? Did you just open?
I'm just going to, I just pulled the puller out of the way a wee bit so that it doesn't get in the road. I'm not going to be stitching over any teeth or anything here. It's just the fabricy bit of the zip I'm going to be stitching over.
Yeah, perfect.
So I can go right out on a semicircle stitching here, whereas the other side is a bit different if you've got a chunky zip.
I think I started at the wrong, pinning the wrong end then.
Why don't you leave it where it is and just start pinning the other side in, and I'll tell you how to do that side in a minute.
Okay.
Gonna say bye, ladies, so I can start on my bag.
Okay,
I think I'm gonna run out of juice in the iPad as well.
No worries. See you soon.
Look forward to seeing them all.
Bye.
Bye. I can work out how to leave. Hold on.
Yeah, Instagram's going to be flooded with Portside bags tomorrow. They're not going to know what's hit them. If you've got a chunky zip, just be careful you don't hit the plastic, any of the plastic bits, when you're going round that top bit of the zip. It'll break your needle for sure. It'll give you the absolute fright of your life as well. Get out of the way.
Bye, everybody. Need to go.
See you later.
Good luck. Bye.
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 Okay, one side done. That looks perfect. Happy with that. Right, this side. I'm just going to start.
Jenny, do you have any tips on how to make the 2 bits fit? Because mine's has got a lot more fabric on the curve than.
So you've got more fabric on the curve than on the bag.
Yeah, so I don't know if you can see my video.
Oh, hold on. Okay, let's have a look.
It's got like not very easy to hold it.
So what you can do is that at the bit of the zip where the teeth.
No,
where the puller is.
Yeah.
So what I did with mine, hold on, you can't see me. Let me just. So if that's the semicircle bit, right? I started pinning from here up and from here up, because you can get a little bit of extra wiggle room where the zip is, because instead of sewing the zip like that, you can get away with sewing the zip like that a wee bit.
Okay.
So do that.
Yep.
Unless it's massive, in which case there might be you might have not taken enough of a seam allowance out when you were stitching your top and your bottom side panels together.
Yeah.
But you should be able to fix it at the zip, I would think. And maybe just stretch it everywhere else as well to get rid of a wee bit of.
Yeah, it doesn't really have any give in the fabric at all.
What fabric are you using? Is it a oilclothy type stuff or?
No, it's like an upholstery fabric.
A wee bit trickier, but you'll be fine.
Jenny,
one's at the top.
I think, Jenny, sorry, can I ask a question? Of
course you can.
Right, you know how you said go to the other side, which is the one where it's got the zipper pull, to do that one first. Right, so I've done that one now, except if I'm honest with you, where the zipper pull is, it's right on the top of where my the edge of my bag is, or the edge of my
right,
my
so
curve.
Okay, so have you got
put my zip in too far?
It's maybe a wee bit too far up, right? But we can figure it out. We're not unpicking it. Life's too short. What we can do is, sorry, June. Yes, you just move it to the other side. I just saw your question in the chat there. I'm about to do what you're going to have to do on both sides. So I'll show you what to do, right? Maybe this camera might be better to show you actually. What we're going to need to do on this side is, I'm not going to be stitching, when I'm putting in my curvy bit, I'm not going to be stitching my curvy bit to the zip at all. So this is my curvy bit here.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get to the top edge here, I'm just going to be stitching the 2 seam allowances.
Okay.
To the curvy bit, and I'm going to be pushing that zip out of the way.
So do you think what I should do is pull my zipper down a little bit, as if it's kind of like, so that it's not going quite as high up?
Yeah.
And then just kind of like put it on.
Push a couple of those 2 wee bits out the way, and instead you might have to unpick a tiny wee bit of where you've stitched the bag onto the zip. So you might have to unpick like your seam allowance of 1.5 centimeters, just so that you can push the zip out of the way and you can stitch the bag to the curvy bit.
Now, the other thing that I have, right, is the fact that, see, the ends of the zip, like, is there, which is like literally on the bag.
Do you mean the stopper bits that stop the puller going? We're not going to be cutting anything off of this zip, so it's okay. Don't worry about it. You won't lose it.
Okay.
Oops. I'm starting to get excited for this bag now. Towards the end of a project, I'm starting getting like, ooh, this is going to be good. Can't really try a bag on, whereas if this was some kind of piece of clothing, I would have tried it on like 5 times already in sections. So again on this side, once I've pinned it in, I'm going to just check it out from the right side, make sure that it looks okay.
So can I just ask, you've obviously got a hole between the sides and the thingy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just a wee one.
Right, that's me off because I'm finished my bag. Well, I need to hand stitch the lining, but I'll do that another time. But the rest of it's done.
Send us a wee photo of it.
Do you have a fast forward button that none of the rest of us have?
Wow, so you've done the bottom and everything.
Complete bag.
Jeez,
amazing.
I got quite lucky. I only made a couple of mistakes and I just didn't even bother fixing them. I was just like, let's go with it. I like to cut corners like Jenny does.
Yeah, it's my favourite thing to do in sewing.
But yeah, I'll post a photo when it's done, and I've got the full set now, so yeah, I'll do that.
Brilliant. Post a photo of the whole set, that'd be amazing.
Right, well, have a nice night, everyone.
See you later. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Sorry, Jenny, can you go over again what to do with the chunky zip at the closed end?
Yep. Let me just...
If I do the seam allowance, I'm going to sew over the zip.
So, what did you say if you...
Although I've left the seam allowance, that I haven't sewn it. So what do I need to do to tuck it under?
You need to just put, so at this point you're not sewing over the zip at all. You have to push the zip right out of the way, and that's why we didn't sew it, the zip completely to the side bits at the seam allowance. So folding the zip out of the way, and then it'll let you stitch over the top bit.
Perfect. I might need to do that at the other end actually, because I've just left a gap and thought I was going to hand sew it. But I'd probably be able to do that there as well. Okay. Cool. That's so much better because I hate hand sewing. It's just a mess.
Life's too short if you can avoid it. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but
Well, it is avoidable. You just don't choose something to do.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Liz, off to get a wee gin now. Amazing. Thanks for joining us, Liz. Right, the bottom bit now. Okay, open the zip, otherwise we will not be able to turn this out. I'm going to put it so that it's inside out. I find my bottom bit here on the floor somewhere. It is. And then I'm going to just matching corners and notches. I didn't put any notches on this. Should I put notches on it? Let's see. I'm not going to put notches on it. I can't even find a bit of paper now. Right, we match my corners first of all. So right sides together with this. My bag's inside out. Now, with the corners, you kind of have to sew almost snipping them will help actually, but it's almost like a curvy shape. You need to manipulate the fabric. Round the corner like that.
And again, which side do you sew it from? The bottom or the sides? That was a bit I find really tricky on the dot bag thing.
I would sew with the sides up because the bottom's going to stay pretty flat, probably, but the sides are going to want to bubble. So I'd be putting it into the machine with the bottom on the bottom of my machine and the sides on top of my machine.
Right.
I'm just going to pin all my corners first and then I'll pin the straight bits. So once you've pinned your corners all together, I'm just going to pin in all my straight bits now. Right, so once that is pinned in, I'm going to go all the way around the bottom edge and I'm going to put my needle in at the corner, lift my presser foot and pivot the fabric so that I don't lose my space. You might have to pull the fabric a wee bit to get this to fit. I will show you me doing it on this wee camera. So I'll keep my needle in, lift my presser foot, change in direction.
Sorry, I broke a needle, so I had to, that's me just finished me doing the side bits. Did we have to cut notches into the bottom of the bag? Or
You don't have to, but you can sometimes do it at the corners if you're really struggling, if your fabric is really inflexible. But if you can try and not do it, because you're more likely to get a hole in the corner if you snip it before you sew it.
Yokes, thank you. Stupid question. So it's inside out, and then I'm pinning the bottom
right sides together.
Okay, thank you.
Nice. What I'm kind of doing at the corners when I'm approaching a corner, I'm setting it up so that it's not straight, because obviously I've got this bit coming at an angle, so I'm setting it up how I want it to look when I turn the corner, and then I'm just kind of trying to manipulate the fabric to get it as flat as I can around this area. So I generally stitch until there's a row of stitch in here. You can't really see it, but there's a row of stitch in there for the side seam. And I'll stitch to the row of stitching, keep my needle in, lift my presser foot, and then pivot. So it's coming together. The stitch around the bottom of the bag about 1/8 from the seam line, making sure to catch the bottom and both layers of the seam allowance, then stitch again. So basically this is wanting us to pull all the seam allowance from the bottom of the bag into the bottom of the bag and then stitch it down. Double line of stitching will reinforce the seam. So
on the outside, this is like
yeah. So yeah, so you're gonna have to put it all in the machine. So this is the bottom of my bag, and I'm going to be stitching on the bottom bit all the way around the bottom. So if you were to turn the bag upside down once it's finished, the top stitching will be completely within that bottom piece and within the seam allowance as well. So you're basically stitching the seam allowance of the sides and the bottoms to the bottom bit to flatten them and to secure them. Does that make sense? So this is the bottom of my bag, right?
Yeah.
So when this is top stitched, when this is finished, this next step, there'll be a row of stitching right round that bottom.
Left over, and you're sewing through both.
Yeah. So I will be stitching, but from the inside, I'm going to need to pull my seam allowance. Where's my seam allowance? There's my seam allowance.
So there's not a row of stitching on the side as well. You're not sewing the side seam in too.
No, just the bottom.
Right, that's what I couldn't figure out how you could do that on the wee dot bag. So I thought you must have to go through the side and the bottom.
Just the bottom in this one.
So how are you going to kind of like get in there?
Because if I can get my hand in there, I can get the sewing machine in there.
Right.
I'll need to bumfold all of this up.
To
get it in. Take this bit off your machine.
Yeah.
And then it gives you more space.
But you're going to attempt to get the side seams are going up.
No, the sides, all the seam allowance from that bottom bit that we've just stitched is going down. So that all seam allowance will then be stitched to the bottom of the bag.
Right. Okay.
I'll do it and then I'll show you as well. That'll be. So this is my whole bag in my machine. And I can feel my seam allowance, and I need all my seam allowance to be on the bottom bit. It's hard to see because this is navy, but the corner's quite tricky, so I think I'm just going to go round. I'm going to probably not do a square. I think I'll go round because it is the bottom anyway, so it should be all right. It's not going to let me in there. Make sure you don't stitch any other bits of your bag, of course. That'd be a disaster. So the bottom, can't even see it, but there is a row of stitching along that bottom bit. I think it tells you to do it twice. I'm not doing it twice. No way. So I'm going to...
I could get the machine in there to do it on the dot bag. That's why I thought it must be stitching, you know, like a sort of little platform sticky out bit on the outside.
Ah.
Like I said, I couldn't see how physically I could actually do it.
Maybe it does need that, but I think that would be a nightmare to sew because
that's why I just
would bump.
I mean, getting the corner. Here's mine. The corners were tricky enough.
Yeah.
And then it said to do the top stitching, and I thought, how the hell am I going to do that? And that's why I thought it maybe meant, you know, sewing through all the layers and having it like a little platform.
Yeah.
On the outside, because I couldn't see how I could actually. But maybe you can do it from the inside, and it just
stitch around the bottom of the bag. About 1/8 from the seam line, making sure to catch the bottom and both layers of the seam allowance. It definitely doesn't go through the sides.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Fair enough.
Then stitch again a quarter. So just want you to stitch it twice. It's just 2 rows of top stitching in a really awkward place. That's all it is. But I would just do one because one will be fine. So I'm going to talk you through the lining, right? Because otherwise we will actually be here until goodness knows when. So the lining is just an easier version of the outside because you don't have to add the pockets and the handly bits and all the rest of it. If you've got that rip stop stuff, I wouldn't iron that because I think it will melt. So it tells you to iron it, but don't. I would finger press it if it will crease. It should crease almost like paper. So you're going to where the lining will meet the zip, just like we did when we were doing the outside, we need to fold the seam allowance down. So 1/2 inch folded down of those top bits. What are they? Piece 7 in that diagram. And then it just gets put together in exactly the same way. You're basically making the same bag again without the zip. And then once you've made the lining, so the bottom, the sides go on, the curvy bits go on, the bottom goes on in the same way that the whole bag is put together. Then it gets turned inside out and put inside the bag that you've made, this one. And then the wee folded edge that I've told you to press gets annoyingly hand stitched in. Now you could get away potentially with, I would probably just hand stitch it in, to be honest. You could potentially stitch over your top stitching, the stitching that you used to put the zip in. You could potentially stitch over it again using the machine and catch the lining. You could try that, and that might be quicker. You might then just have to do a couple of wee hand stitches at either end of the zip, but you might get away with not doing that, but that'll put your lining in for you. And then it's just the handle, which is very easy, and the pictures are good, so that's good. Do we think we'll be able to do it? See if you can't do it, just message me, because I'll need to finish this one anyway, so I can, if anybody gets stuck at anything, then you can let me know. If you're a VIP, you can ask in the group. If you're not a VIP and you bought this class, then you can just email me, and I will help you out.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for staying
better
with
than
me
I've
as
done
well.
before, but I still couldn't keep up.
Well, do you know what? I was on the go slow to start with, and then I did have to speed up, so I did go a wee bit fast maybe towards the end there.
Make you appreciate the sewing bee. Never will.
No, I would never.
No, never. Oh.
never.
I'm on the bottom. I've just finished the bottom, and I'm like the inside of the bottom. So, and I'm like thinking, oh my god, I really do feel like that girl on the sewing bee going, I don't have time.
But you do have time, so it's all good. You can take your time now.
Yeah.
Let me see these when they're finished. So tag us on Instagram if you use Instagram, put them in the Facebook group on Facebook, let us see them. I would love to see everyone's duffel bag. And then I really want to see them like in situ, like at the airport when we're allowed to finally go places.
Can we show it to you without letting you see the inside part?
Yes, of course. Cool. No one has to know about the inside.
That's okay then.
Amazing. Thanks for joining me, guys, and I will see you all soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.